Hello again. This is day 21 of our Reading Through the Bible Together in a Year series. Today we're covering Exodus chapters 15, starting in verse 22, going all the way through chapter 18. Now, where we were before this is that God has taken Israel out of Egypt and delivered them from the hand of Pharaoh through the crossing of the Sea of Reeds. The beginning of chapter 15 that we are not covering today, but we had yesterday, is a poem, a song from Moses and Miriam, just listing out the wonderful things about Yahweh. And so we pick that up today. Let's see where it goes. Then Moshe took Israel forward from the Red Sea, and they went out into the wasteland of Shur. And for 3 days they were in the wasteland where there was no water. And when they came to Marah, the water was no good for drinking, for the waters of Marah were bitter, which is why it was named Marah. And the people, crying out against Moshe, said, "What are we to have to drink?" And in answer to his prayer, the Lord made him see a tree, and when he put it into the water was made sweet. There he gave them a law and an order, testing them. And he said, "If with all your heart you will give attention to the voice of the Lord your God, and do what is right in his eyes, giving ear to his orders and keeping his laws, I will not put on you any of the diseases which I put on the Egyptians, for I am the Lord your life-giver." And they came to Elim, where there were 12 water springs and 70 palm trees, and they put up their tents by their waters. And they went on their way from Elim, and all the children of Israel came into the wasteland of Sin, which is between Elim and Sinai, on the 15th day of the 2nd month after they went out of the land of Egypt. And all the children of Israel were crying out against Moshe and Aaron in the wasteland. And the children of Israel said to them, "It would have been better for the Lord to have put us to death in the land of Egypt, where we were seated by the flesh pots and have bread enough for our needs. For you have taken us out to this waste of sand, to put all this people to death through need of food." Then the Lord said to Moshe, "See, I will send down bread from heaven for you, and the people will go out every day and get enough for the day's needs, so that I may put them to the test to see if they will keep my laws or not. And on the 6th day they are to make ready what they get in, and it will be twice as much as they get on the other days." And Moshe and Aaron said to all the children of Israel, "This evening it will be clear to you that it is the Lord who has taken you out of the land of Egypt. And in the morning you will see the glory of the Lord, for your angry words against the Lord have come to his ears. And what are we that you are crying out against us?" And Moshe said, "The Lord will give you meat for your food at evening, and in the morning bread in full measure. For your outcry against the Lord has come to his ears. For what are we? Your outcry is not against us, but against the Lord." And Moshe said to Aaron, "Say to all the people of Israel, come near before the Lord, for he has given ear to your outcry." And while Aaron was talking to the children of Israel, their eyes were turned in the direction of the wasteland, and they saw the glory of the Lord shining in the cloud. And the Lord said to Moshe, "The outcry of the children of Israel has come to my ears. Say to them now, at nightfall you will have meat for your food, and in the morning bread in full measure, and you will see that I am the Lord your God." And it came about that in the evening little birds came up, and the place was covered with them, and in the morning there was dew all round about the tents. And when the dew was gone, on the face of the earth was a small round thing, like small drops of ice on the earth. And when the children of Israel saw it, they said to one another, "What is it?" For they had no idea what it was. And Moshe said to them, "It is the bread which the Lord has given you for food. This is what the Lord has said. Let every man take up as much as he has need of, at the rate of 1 omer for every person. Let every man take as much as is needed for his family." And the children of Israel did so, and some took more and some less. And when it was measured, he who had taken up much had nothing over, and he who had little had enough. Every man had taken what he was able to make use of. And Moshe said to them, "Let nothing be kept until the morning." But they gave no attention to Moshe, and some of them kept it till the morning, and there were worms in it, and it had an evil smell. And Moshe was angry with them. And they took it up morning by morning, every man as he had need, and when the sun was high it was gone. And on the 6th day they took up twice as much of the bread, 2 omers for every person, and all the rulers of the people gave Moshe word of it. And he said, "This is what the Lord has said. Tomorrow is a day of rest, a holy Shabbat to the Lord. What has to be cooked may be cooked, and what is over put on one side to be kept until the morning." And they kept it until the morning as Moshe had said, and no smell came from it, and it had no worms. And Moshe said, "Make your meal today of what you have, for this day is a Shabbat to the Lord. Today you will not get any in the fields. For 6 days you will get it, but on the 7th day, the Shabbat, there will not be any. But still on the 7th day some of the people went out to get it, and there was not any. And the Lord said to Moshe, How long will you go against my orders and my laws? See, because the Lord has given you the Shabbat, he gives you on the 6th day bread enough for 2 days. Let every man keep where he is. Let no man go out of his place on the 7th day. So the people took their rest on the 7th day. And this bread was named manna by Israel. It was white like a grain seed, and its taste was like cakes made with honey. And Moshe said, This is the order which the Lord has given. Let 1 omer of it be kept for future generations, so that they may see the bread which I gave you for your food in the wasteland, when I took you out from the land of Egypt. And Moshe said to Aaron, Take a pot and put 1 omer of manna in it, and put it away before the Lord, to be kept for future generations. So Aaron put it away in front of the holy chest to be kept, as the Lord gave orders to Moshe. And the children of Israel had manna for their food for 40 years, until they came to a land with people in it, till they came to the edge of the land of Canaan. Now an omer is a 10th part of an ephah. And the children of Israel went on from the wasteland of Sin by stages as the Lord gave them orders, and put up their tents in Rephidim, and there was no drinking water for the people. So the people were angry with Moshe and said, Give us water for drinking. And Moshe said, Why are you angry with me? And why do you put God to the test? And the people were in great need of water, and they made an outcry against Moshe and said, Why have you taken us out of Egypt, to send death on us and our children and our cattle through need of water? And Moshe, crying out to the Lord, said, What am I to do to this people? They are almost ready to put me to death by stoning. And the Lord said to Moshe, Go on before the people, and take some of the chiefs of Israel with you, and take in your hand the rod which was stretched out over the Nile, and go. See, I will take my place before you on the rock in Horeb, and when you give the rock a blow, water will come out of it, and the people will have a drink. And Moshe did so before the eyes of the chiefs of Israel. And he gave that place the name Massah and Meribah, because the children of Israel were angry, and because they put the Lord to the test, saying, Is the Lord with us or not? Then Amalek came and made war on Israel in Rephidim. And Moshe said to Yehoshua, Get together a band of men for us, and go out, make war on Amalek. Tomorrow I will take my place on top of the hill with the rod of God in my hand. So Yehoshua did as Moshe said to him, and went to war with Amalek. And Moshe, Aaron, and Hur went up to the top of the hill. Now while Moshe's hand was lifted up, Israel was the stronger. But when he let his hand go down, Amalek became the stronger. But Moshe's hands became tired, so they put a stone under him, and he took his seat on it, Aaron and Hur supporting his hands, one on one side and one on the other. So his hands were kept up without falling until the sun went down, and Yehoshua overcame Amalek and his people with the sword. And the Lord said to Moshe, Make a record of this in a book, so that it may be kept in memory, and say it again in the ears of Yehoshua, that all memory of Amalek is to be completely uprooted from the earth. Then Moshe put up an altar and gave it the name of Yahweh Nissi, for he said, The Lord has taken his oath that there will be war with Amalek from generation to generation. Now news came to Yitro, the priest of Midian, Moshe's father-in-law, of all God had done for Moshe and for Israel his people, and how the Lord had taken Israel out of Egypt. And Yitro, Moshe's father-in-law, took Zipporah, Moshe's wife, after he had sent her away, and her 2 sons, one of whom was named Gershom, for he said, I have been living in a strange land, and the name of the other was Eliezer, for he said, The God of my father was my help, and kept me safe from the sword of Pharaoh. And Yitro, Moshe's father-in-law, came with his sons and his wife to where Moshe had put up his tent in the wasteland, by the mountain of God. And he said to Moshe, I, your father-in-law, have come to you with your wife and your 2 sons. And Moshe went out to his father-in-law, and went down on his face before him, and gave him a kiss. And they said to one another, Are you well? And they came into the tent. And Moshe gave his father-in-law an account of all the Lord had done to Pharaoh and to the Egyptians because of Israel, and of all the troubles which had come on them by the way, and how the Lord had given them salvation. And Yitro was glad because the Lord had been good to Israel, freeing them from the power of the Egyptians. And Yitro said, Praise be to the Lord, who has taken you out of the hand of Pharaoh, and out of the hand of the Egyptians, freeing the people from the yoke of the Egyptians. Now I am certain that the Lord is greater than all gods, for he has overcome them in their pride. Then Yitro, Moshe's father-in-law, made a burnt offering to God, and Aaron came with the chiefs of Israel and had a meal with Moshe's father-in-law before God. Now on the day after, Moshe took his seat to give decisions for the people, and the people were waiting before Moshe from morning until evening. And when Moshe's father-in-law saw all he was doing, he said, "What is this you are doing for the people? Why are you seated here by yourself, with all the people waiting before you from morning until evening?" And Moshe said to his father-in-law, "Because the people come to me to get directions from God. And if they have any question between themselves, they come to me, and I am judge between a man and his neighbor, and I give them orders and laws of God." And Moshe's father-in-law said to him, "What you are doing is not good. Your strength and that of the people will be completely used up. This work is more than you are able to do by yourself. Give ear now to my suggestion, and may God be with you. You are to be the people's representative before God, taking their causes to him, teaching them his rules and his laws, guiding them in the way they have to go, and making clear to them the work they have to do. But for the rest, take from among the people able men, such as have the fear of God, true men, hating prophets wrongly made, and put such men over them, to be captains of thousands, captains of hundreds, and of fifties, and of tens. And let them be judges in the causes of the people at all times, and let them put before you all important questions. But in small things let them give decisions themselves. In this way it will be less hard for you, and they will take the weight off of you. If you do this, and God gives approval, then you will be able to go on without weariness, and all the people will go to their tents in peace." So Moshe took note of the words of his father-in-law, and did as he had said. And he made selection of able men out of all Israel, and made them heads over the people, captains of thousands, captains of hundreds, and of fifties, and of tens. And they were judges in the causes of the people at all times. The hard questions they put before Moshe, but on every small point they gave decisions themselves. And Moshe let his father-in-law go away, and he went back to his land. So already we're seeing Israel is kind of nervous as they go off into the wilderness, even though they saw God take them out of Egypt and all of the wonders and signs and the crossing of the Red Sea. A little bit worried that he's not going to be taking care of them in the wilderness. So this period of testing, there's 4 different occasions, at least 3 that we know are tests, and 1 is just God taking care of them in the battle. God is taking care of them, and he's going to be there for them, and he is living out the covenant before the covenant is even made. And so we're going to see tomorrow how that covenant actually goes forth. But for the rest of today, have a wonderful day.